Oh, it's killer.
Yeah. What's the premium on that thing?
Wow. How much mileage do you get?
Do you have asteroid coverage? Asteroid collision coverage?
Welcome back to another episode of The Table of Content. I'm Albert Saenz, joined with
Michael Steele.
Michael. Once again, here we are. More stories from the Tall Tales Club.
That's right. Yeah.
More whoppers.
That's right. More whoppers, right? That exaggeration, right? To kind of delight us and also help us to think and wonder and just enjoy.
Well, what's the lowdown on episode 2 from Stories of Tall Tales Club? What's our short summary here?
It's an alien encounter. Who doesn't love a good alien encounter?
Aliens.
That's right.
You remember in Bolt? You remember at the end of Bolt, like, because the pigeons were trying to pitch a story about aliens, but at the very end, it's the aliens and
aliens, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I've been abducted by aliens. You know?
It's like I'm on another planet.
Right, exactly, right? That would explain a lot in my life.
Right.
It's like aliens did it, you know?
Just pulling the strings.
Exactly.
So we have an alien story.
Yes. So once again, we're encountering the protagonists of the Tall Tales Club, right? They are formerly called the Fourth Avenue Club for Travelers and Storytellers, but they affectionately call themselves the Tall Tale Club, right? It's really cool. I would love to be part of a club like that, right? You just sit, you share stories or experiences. You know, I picture them like in this tavern somewhere, and they're just all comfortable. And they're, you know, someone comes with this experience or story, and others are riddling them about it or ribbing them about it, and offering various levels of disbelief, but then also insights, commentaries, etc., etc. And the idea is, no, this is a true story that I'm trying to convey. So the cool thing about this one is we are introduced to Lancelot Paladin. Like, what an amazing name that is, right? Lancelot Paladin. Like, Lancelot, you know, the knight, the bold and brave and noble knight from the King Arthur tales. And then Paladin as well is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Paladin is some kind of warrior hero type as well.
Right.
So already you've got like double barrel hero, right?
Thanks, Joe Potts, for always making fun characters.
Right. Thank you, Joe. Right.
Oh, but before I forget, if you haven't listened to episode 2 of Stories from the Tall Tales Club, pause, stop if you can, and go listen to episode 2. It's all over all of our sites, our website, weareonebodyAudiotheater.org. You can find it on our Facebook feed, YouTube, podcast. It's there, so you should go.
Link in the description.
And what else?
A link in the description.
Should they subscribe?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Subscribe. Smash that like button and subscribe. I've always wanted to say that.
Well, now you have.
That's right.
Okay, sorry. I decided to make sure that you hear the story because you may not know what we're talking about. Anyway, so carry on.
Right. So we're introduced to Lancelot Paladin, who shares his experience, and he couches his story with a lot of it's top secret, it's classified, I can't divulge details, which makes it rather convenient for him. But the narrator tells us that, in fact, he is well-traveled, but his travel isn't just across continents or across oceans. His travel is into outer space. And he shares a story that really stretches the suspension of disbelief, a story of an encounter with an alien species.
And there was indeed, right? The premise here and the story is that Captain Paladin is out with one of his comrades on a deep space voyage to boldly go somewhere he had never been, and again having to change the names. Right, his comrade in the ship, he aptly calls Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. Right?
So Captain Paladin is talking about Captain Kirk, but they do have an alien encounter.
Right.
And it's one that's actually sort of nerve-wracking for them in the beginning because they don't know what's happening. There's flashes of light. They're not sure if they're being shot at. And of course, the normal comments start creeping up out of the club. Really, is this really happening?
Right. Are you really going to do this? Right. Are you really going to go down an alien encounter story, in deep space on a spaceship?
Right.
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 Yeah. Which is if you think about it, it's a great way to address the objections that we're all feeling right at the moment. So, but yeah, and it kind of plays out as I would imagine an alien encounter could possibly happen in space in a spaceship. Like there's a lot of unknown, and associated with the unknown is fear and caution and wondering and just not knowing. Like what in that kind of situation, what would we do?
Exactly.
How would we react? Right.
Yeah, I mean the search, right? The search for life in other planets, right? It's an ongoing sort of adventure, for scientists, space explorers that, for the real space explorers that we have, right? They're searching for life, or can life be elsewhere?
Yeah. Are we alone?
Are we alone? The truth is out there. Sorry, it's a bad X-Files nod. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know what we would do. I think we try to, make plans, but I just think that a moment, if there was ever to be some sort of encounter, I think all the rules would be out the window. It'd be like, right. Someone actually responded. I mean, what was it? The first couple of big satellites sent on deep space, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2,
right.
Like they had that recording, which was like a collection of greetings, something from the Olympics,
right?
Right. Some music. I mean, it was some different things.
Yeah.
And the movie Contact actually sort of references, right, that the aliens respond back with that sort of transmission coming back.
Yes. Right.
So we've been trying for a long time to say, well, maybe someone's out there, and here's our message of peace, and this is the human race.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, if someone picks up the phone and answers,
right, and that's it. When you're talking about picking up the phone, a reoccurring theme in any kind of alien story is that idea of communication. How do we bridge the communication gap, right? Would they be rational, right? And there was this one point in the story where they're trying to communicate, make first contact, right? And that idea of like language barriers, or in this particular instance, telekinetic.
Telekinesis.
Or,
I think telekinesis is actually like the physical, like.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, yes, using your brain to communicate.
Yeah, ESPN.
I wish I knew the theme, that classic ESPN theme.
No, but he says it somewhere here, which is really kind of cool. The human brain is always trying to interpret the unknown in ways that seem familiar. Isn't that cool? That's a great insight into how we go about learning new things and how we go about relating them to other things, But I like that idea of how do we bridge if we were to have an encounter with an alien species, how would we communicate? And you hear all sorts of different examples in these sci-fi stories, the Babel fish, that goes into someone's ear and translates airwaves and into language that's meaningful for the person receiving, right? But right, but in this case, the alien seems to be able to talk directly to the person's mind.
Right.
Right. It's really interesting.
It made me think we had a story that came out a few months ago here at Audio Theater, Cry from a Far Planet. And that was sort of the crux of the story, was these explorers had gone way out. They were part of multiple teams of explorers that had gone out throughout the galaxy, and they focus on this one explorer, and he's on a planet. He's basically hopelessly trying to communicate with the alien populace there, and then finds another alien creature that can communicate using the brain, and says, I can help. Like, I can help. Like, we can communicate. And says, all we want is just take us with you. And the explorer is like, I'll never know what you're doing, because you can use your brain. Like, I can't use that power. Like, who knows? Like, you're gonna try to conquer the world, the universe, like, if I take you away. And but he says, but what's been the problem this whole time? What's been the problem that you and your other explorer teams have been having? Communication.
Yes.
Right? Communication. And isn't that, from a human standpoint, what a seed of fear? Like, when you can't talk to someone. I've traveled to other countries, and specifically in Europe, and there are people you encounter, they don't speak English.
Right.
And you try to communicate with them, and they cannot talk to you.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, how am I going to figure this out?
Right.
So the basis of communication, or lack thereof, you realize, oh my gosh, I took this for granted all along. So in this story now, to have an encounter with aliens, like, I hope we can talk to them.
Right.
I hope that we can communicate, because I'm gonna be worried if I don't know what they want to do.
Right. The communication is an essential component to building a trustful relationship, which is what you want in an alien encounter, right? You're not sure if their intentions are good, if they're hostile, et cetera, et cetera. So, right.
But if all else fails, you get a bunch of LED lights and an organ, and you start playing
the triad or whatever.
And then you're fine.
Right.
But if you can't play the organ, well, then forget it.
That's right. Did you ever? There's a movie that came out years ago called Aliens versus Monsters. It's an animated film.
My wife has told me about this and showed me some clips, but I have never seen it.
It's hilarious. There's a riff on that scene where he's like, the president,
I think I know which scene you're talking about.
The president of the United States, right, comes out and plays the theme from Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh no, I think he plays that Axel F song.
Right, from Beverly Hills Cop. Right. Such a great,
That maybe that's the universal,
right,
the universal signal of, like, okay, we're good.
Right. But and then even then though, that's just like a commentary on our humanity and our limitations, like that the story that you were talking about from the Cry from a Far,
right, from Cry from a Far Planet.
Cry from a Far Planet. The protagonist is just, it's a commentary on our own distrust of others, right? Who knows? Maybe right. There are, well, I guess these ideas have been explored by other authors as well. I'm thinking of C.S. Lewis in his space trilogy, where there's creatures who have never experienced the fall. There's no disorder in them. So they're just good. They do the right thing. They do the good thing. They don't do the bad thing, right? And it's kind of interesting how he explores that, in relationship with aliens. But
that sounds like such a utopia, to not have experienced the fall to have missed that. However, the reason, I have not read the Space Trilogy. I have been told about it, but the concept of they missed the fall.
Yeah.
Darn it. Why? I wish we had missed the fall.
Right. And the creatures themselves are intimidating, right, to this space explorer who encounters them for the first time, but they're just adapted to thrive in their harsh environment. But they're kind. They do the right thing. They're rational. They're not deviant or kind of swayed by disordered passions.
Sure.
Right. So it's kind of an interesting take. Again, wondering about our human condition in the context of space.
Well, the human condition comes into question as we move through the story, right? So they've encountered the aliens. They're sort of being told that they need to land, right? There's this sort of mental communication happening.
Right.
You get a great balance of two different personality types in the midst of the initial interaction before they land.
Right.
So you have, Paladin who's being sort of the peacemaker. Let's calm down. Let's not overreact. And then you have Kirk, who, funny enough, right, they give a Scottish accent to. So it's a riff off of Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty, right.
So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch Star Trek. You have to watch the original one with William Shatner. So go do that when you have a few years to catch up. But so he's scared. He just thinks they're going to kill him, and he thinks that everything they say is like a threat to their life. And so it's this balance of the human person, right? Like those who trust or who want to trust, and those who are just like, I'm scared. I don't know what's happening. They want to kill us. And from there, they converge onto the planet.
Right, exactly. And they're approached by this alien who seems to be a leader of some sort based on
the way he's dressed.
The way he's dressed. Again, a commentary on human assumptions, right? Just outward appearance. Yeah, he looks like he's the big kahuna, right?
Right.
Or kahuna, I don't know how you...
Kahuna, I think.
Right, yeah. But, and then the alien stretches out his hand and offers, there's like some kind of pulsating instrument.
Right.
With a pink or rose-colored light. And Captain Kirk immediately thinks it's a weapon, right? And he's thinking, blade. Oh, he's got a knife, right?
And then he's like, no, Paladin's like trade. I think he wants to trade, not a blade.
Right. And this is the part of the story that I find really satisfying in the Tall Tales Club, is because Lancelot Paladin at that point pulls out that same pulsating device and throws it there on the table for the rest of his skeptical friends as empirical evidence that the encounter actually took place. And that for me is just like, that's great. If you have a story to tell, but then you have empirical evidence, that just adds so much more weight to the story.
Interestingly enough that you say that, there are some people who, even with something staring them in the face, they refuse to believe. It's a reverse, right? We go back to Thomas, right? And
yes.
He wanted to see to believe, right?
Yeah.
But what does Christ say? Blessed are those who have not seen,
but still believe. Right.
So the human person is so interesting, because some people are like, I'm not going to believe it unless I see it. And there's like, I see it and I still don't believe it.
Right.
It's like, well, how can you not, know? How, all the people that basically doubted Christ's resurrection. It's like, he's not here and no one could have moved the stone. Like, what is it going to take, know, to make you a believer?
Right.
But some people, I think, are just bound to not want to believe. They have the pink thing in front of them and they're like, I don't know.
Right.
It was bound to either work or not work. Like, It's just, it wasn't going to be enough. Like, some evidence is just not going to take people one way or the other. And again, we come back to the human condition.
Yeah.
Here is empirical evidence.
Yeah.
No, it's not good enough.
Right. Not good enough. Right. Exactly. Like, isn't that one of the comments that Lancelot Paladin receives when he puts down this pulsating alien instrument on the table. One of his colleagues says, "Wait a minute, didn't I see that in the local toy store?"
Yeah, or Mega Mart.
Mega Mart.
It's like, okay, you were just not going to believe.
Right.
You know. And that's one side of this story, is that people are going to either on faith
Right.
believe something has happened, or they're not. Right. And they're going to keep searching. And I think that's one of the great things about the Tall Tales Club, right? It's a search. It's a search for truth.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. Searching for truth is a good thing.
Yes.
However, when you encounter truth, we should be able to recognize it as truth. We should be able to accept it as truth. And we should be able to take that truth into our own sort of personhood and say, all right, now I have this truth. Now what am I going to do with it? And hopefully do something good with it.
Right.
So that's the one side of the story. But the other side of the story, because we sort of moved ahead there, is the actual encounter with the alien, the one who was sick. Right?
Right.
Because you've got the alien comes out, makes the peace offering, and then the alien comrades, they bail on him.
Right.
They leave, they take off, and you've heard Kirk and Paladin talking, saying something doesn't look right with this alien, with this big kahuna alien.
Mm-hmm.
So then the alien ship leaves, and now they're left with them, and they're like, well, what's going on? And, you find out, going back to the Tall Tales Club transition, that they ended up finding out the alien was sick, and that they had a way to save him, which was to give him some metal tools.
Right. He wanted some wrenches.
He wanted some wrenches. And of course, he's getting chastised for it by his colleagues. But there's something chemical or molecular inside of the wrenches that could be turned into what the alien needed, and he turned out to be okay.
Right.
He lives a happy life on Area 51.
Yeah, exactly. And the solution is deceptively simple, and I feel that's what makes it so delightful. Is like, for sci-fi, sometimes we're expecting all these highly technical, play out of plot, and he just wanted to eat the tools. That's all. He's just like, give me I need something to, like, my body makeup is deficient in, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like kind of like having an electrolyte problem, and just it was his version of a Powerade.
Right, exactly.
I need a wrench. I need a wrench aid.
Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling run down. Can I have like a ratchet or something to pick me up? Right.
Right.
Also, interesting note, that commentary on the alien culture. Like, they bailed on him. They left him in the lurch. Like, not an exemplary alien culture, right? So there's that introduced as well. That maybe, other alien cultures are not.
Again, another example of stuff that we see in humanity. Like, we are not kind to our fellow humans, especially if we're afraid, because they say they must have left him not wanting to catch his illness.
Right.
And fear. But again, we go back to scripture. What do we see? Jesus goes and hangs out with the people that are sick.
Yeah.
Whether it's sick of soul or sick of physical ailments, like the lepers.
Yeah.
Jesus is like, no, sir, I got to go.
Yeah.
Jesus doesn't bail. Yeah. Right. So just another really good commentary on how we should be doing, because then what do we have?
Yeah.
We have Paladin, who's like, we've got to help the person. He has no idea what's going on. Alien physiology, alien disease. Right. He's like, we've got to try and help.
Yes.
Right.
He's doing the kind thing.
That is the kind thing. And we go to Luke chapter 10 and the Good Samaritan, and it's, the people who should have stayed and helped didn't help. The priest didn't help. The Levite didn't help. The Samaritan passed by, and he's like, okay, I'm going to help. Right. So the aliens sort of wanted to help their own alien. They're like, nope, we're out.
Yeah, right.
So we're bound to try to find the opportunities in our life where someone needs help, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're a stranger to us, a complete stranger. Maybe we can't talk their language, but that doesn't mean that we can't try to help them if they need help.
Right. Right. I like how you use that word bound, right? That's just like a universal principle of, again, what it means to be human. Like, treat others with kindness, respect who they are, right? And and try as much as possible to meet their needs, right? And yeah, it's kindness. And I believe that's the question that the narrator leaves us with at the end of the tale. It's like perhaps the more interesting question is, if there were an alien species, would they be kind, right? Or would they show kindness? Yeah. Or would we show kindness to them?
And that's a great place to kind of start closing up on, is the kindness is not have to be two ways. Like, well, I'm not going to be kind if they're not going to be kind to me.
Right.
We don't know what the
Yeah.
aliens would do. We don't know if they would be kind to us. We don't know if they would treat us with peace and mercy. But that does not negate the fact that we should be trying to be kind ourselves, right?
Yes.
Especially as representatives of the Christian faith. Like, yes, we can
Right.
say the human race should be trying to interact with any discoveries and be kind and peaceful and wave white flags and
Yes.
say we come in peace. All of that,
Right.
for sure. But
Yeah.
definitely as Christians, I mean, we again bound to do what Christ has taught us, right?
Yes.
To be kind, to be merciful, to be loving.
Right.
Doesn't matter who it is, alien, friend, family, stranger, animals like elephants,
Yeah.
like be kind and be merciful,
Right.
and if they're not, well, then they're not, but you
Right.
were,
Right.
you followed through.
Yes. I was praying over this recently as well, how that's one of the many paradoxes of being Christian, the fact that we turn the other cheek. There are people who are unkind to Christians. There are people who are unkind just in general. But the Christian, as you said, is bound. Also, we could argue that by what it means to be human, we're bound to be kind to the other person, to do good by them, right? But I was thinking of the example of Jesus, how in the moment of standing before Pilate and allowing himself to be cruelly treated by the Roman guards, like he could have, not even snapping his fingers, just willing it, he could have squelched the whole Roman Empire and everyone that was doing these bad things to him. And yet he wasn't. He was showing amazing self-control in one sense, but also just at the same time, he was loving his enemies. He was loving those who were beating him and crowning him with thorns and mocking him and really wanting their true good. And I feel like he's our example in terms of like how to receive unkindness from others, alien species or whatever, right? And somehow that's a strength for us as Christians because he is God, showed kindness, showed self-control and restraint to people who were treating him unkindly and loving them. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, right? Inasmuch as we follow him in that teaching and that example, like as Christians, yeah, bad things will happen. People will treat us unkindly, et cetera, but we'll be at peace. And he's God, right? So he'll bring some kind of mysterious good out of all of that. Anyways.
But that's the point, right? Is that we're not going to have any progress. We're not going to make any headway. We're not going to do anything that is actually good if we live in fear, respond in hate, respond in anger. And in the story, Paladin says, "Oh yeah, I visit this alien all the time, and he trusts me." He says, "I'm the only one that he trusts."
Right.
Why is that? Probably because Paladin treated him kindly.
That's right.
Helped save his life.
Yes.
Imagine what the impact when you do kindness and people are like,
Right.
I can trust this person.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So much just tension
Right.
and war and fighting right now
Right.
in the world.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, it must be hard to trust the other person when they're just shooting missiles and rockets and
Right.
invading. It's like, guys, really, if you try the peace and kindness thing, you might actually make some headway instead of
Yeah.
this selfish, you said, I said, we said, you did,
Right. Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
kindness, peace, mercy. God knew what he was doing when he really tried to impress that upon everyone.
Right. Right. And a first encounter, you were talking about sort of language barriers here in Europe, but so we can communicate kindness through our eyes, through our facial expressions. Like there are ways other than the actual verbal language that we can show, like actions speak louder than words, right? Um, and right, as humans, we're so complicated in our trust relationships, right? Especially when there's histories of injustice and abuse and violence and hatred. Like it just, right. Like peace has to begin with each person, I feel, right? And forgiveness. And I feel like that's a whole nother story that could be written as well. But I really like the point of this story that showing kindness from the get-go could set the tone for peaceable relationships, So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a perfect communication which doesn't require an actual language, right? That's communicating love.
Right.
And that sort of goes beyond any regular language, right? Beyond Spanish or English or French or Arabic or Mandarin, any of that. Love transcends that, right?
Yes.
And as we know from Pope Benedict XVI encyclical, right? God is love.
Yeah.
So God, the ultimate language, love being the way to get there.
Right.
And that will reach beyond any of these communication errors. And you shared how you can do that without even talking, you know. And it's hard in these times, but I'm hopeful for love to be able to sort of get in to the crevices and the cracks, in these places and try to sort of grow and manifest itself.
Right.
And I know it's hard, and I know it's not perfect, and we continue to deal with, the human condition, but,
people who are hardened, who are not kind.
Right. And, and God willing, something can get into them at some point to sort of break that sort of icy heart that they sort of have created, that stony heart.
Right.
But again, another good story from Joe on how far kindness can take you, and in this instance, on an otherworldly adventure. But even there, kindness still wins.
Right. As you were talking, I was just thinking about the famous salesman Zig Ziglar. He had this quote that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that kind of goes along with that actions speak louder than words. Show kindness through words, through, acts of service, through acts of care, so that the other person feels like you have their best interests at heart, I feel like. And that's a great way to start any kind of interaction or any kind of friendship or relation, especially with an alien.
So may we all start our interactions with any potential aliens with kindness and see where that takes us.
Yeah, right.
Well, Michael, we're going to wrap up there on this episode. But again, this has been Table of Content reviewing Stories from the Tall Tales Club, episode 2. I encourage you, please go to our website, our YouTube channel, Facebook, wherever you can find us. Listen to this episode. See if, at the end of the story, the question is, what do you think, dear listener? So I will pose that question again to our audience. What do you think, dear listener? And may we find the own path in our own lives for the opportunities for kindness. But always so grateful to have you tuning in to the Table of Content. We are very grateful and hope that you will continue to tune in as Michael and I continue through many more Table of Contents.
Right. Stories from the Tall Tales Club, Episode 2, Visitors from Another World by Joe Potts.
Joe Potts.
Thank you, Joe.
And thank you, Michael. And
thank you, Albert.
till we meet again.
Sounds great. Yeah, have a great week.
You as well.